Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So we have got a few that we like tomorrow. I just want to talk about one race as well that I thought I was going to have a selection in. The more I looked into it, the more I was unsure. So I'm a big fan of this Mimiku horse. I don't know whether she justifies being as short as 6-4, 5-4, 11-8, even money in places. I mean, her defeat of River of Stars, or her defeat by River of Stars, sorry, I don't think that's amazing form. I think Mimiku probably wants a bit further as well, probably wants a mile and 5, mile and 6. I know they managed to drop free wind back and do the same to win. But if we looked at, say, her course and distance win, she was beating a horse called Time Lock in a novice stakes. Okay, good performance. Time Lock actually reopposes, but Time Lock is £6 better off for a neck. Time Lock went off 8-13 that day. They really liked Time Lock. Sea Silk Road, I think there's good form there, and I know she got beat in the Middleton by free wind, so kind of gives an angle to Mimiku, as in, you know, the connections will know, oh, we think Mimiku's better than free wind or similar. But I don't think that performance was that bad. You know, and she certainly improved on that Seasick Road by winning here, beating Natros, winning quite comfortably, I felt, in the end, beating Time Lock. I mean, if Time Lock is better than Mimiku or close to Mimiku, well, Seasick Road beat Time Lock comfortably, off levels. I just felt there might be dangers to Mimiku that weren't representative, but unfortunately they weren't big enough prices either. If Time Lock had been 12s, or maybe Seasick Road had been 8s, 9s, I might have been interested, but I kind of think the market have got it right, but I don't know who I would be prepared, whether I'd be prepared to stake some money on Mimiku at 6-4. So anyway, let's move on to a race that I am going to have a selection in, and I'm actually going to have 2 selections in this race. And obviously I've highlighted Laya Cow. I highlighted him for a race earlier in this season at York. I think it was the Win and You're In race, the race that Scampy went and won at York. Skybet race to the Ebor, blah, blah, blah. Laya Cow was in it. I think we'd got 12s or 14s, maybe even bigger than that. I think it was down to 100-30 when withdrawn from the race, or was a late non-runner from the race, wasn't withdrawn. Now, I said I think they'll be keeping Laya Kell for something worthwhile. Now, Scampy's race that he won was worth 25 grand to the winner. This is obviously worth 77,000 to the winner. So I think that's very interesting that they're prepared to run Laya Kell now in a race worth going for. And I think the form was good. I mean, he went off 100-30 favourite for an old Roller Cup. It didn't quite work. He finished 4th. He wasn't well beaten, though, in 4th. And is back for a similar race over the same distance. And, yeah, I mean, there's plenty to like about him. He's definitely progressive. And I think if he's fit enough, he can certainly run a big race. And I think the fact that he was almost ready for the race back at York, he was just a really late non-runner. I think he's probably been fit enough for a long time. He's the one I like, okay, and he is 5-1. But there is another horse that I think can't be overlooked for this race, and it's actually the horse in the same colours, Garci. Why do I like Garci? Well, Garci won the race at Laya. Kel should have run in and hopefully would have won last time out, but didn't. And then after winning that, Garci came here, finished 3rd. Went off the 11-8 favourite for this race, off a mark of 101. Well, he runs tomorrow off a mark of 99, with Adam taking another £3 off. So he's essentially running off 96. So essentially running off a £5 lower mark than when he went off the 11-8 favourite and was only beaten 2 lengths. It didn't quite work that day. He was slowly away. He didn't get the clearest of runs. He ran on late on. If he'd got a clear run, he could well have won the race. If he'd got away on time, he could well have won the race. Well, okay, he's disappointed the last 3 times. He went to the Ebor, where it all went wrong, but he still went a 4-1 that day. He didn't run very well in a Group 3, but they believed he was Group 3 class, and then he ran a disappointing race in the Copper Horse Handicap. Dropping back in trip, dropping back down the grade. You know, this is this isn't as difficult as a Copper Horse Handicap. And he's, you know, he looks incredibly well handicapped compared to just a few runs ago. What was it, 4 runs ago, that he was running in this race and going off the 11-8 favourite and not being beaten far. I think he's way overpriced at 12s, and it wouldn't surprise me if he shortened, and if... I kind of wonder whether they're running him as well as Layukel, because maybe we're not sure about Layukel's fitness. If he's not, then hopefully Garci's the one that takes advantage, and at 12s I think he's got to be a bet in this race as well. So there's Layukel at 5s and Garci at 12s. Moving on to the next race, we know, or if you follow my Twitter, you'll know who I like in this race, and it is Uzo. Why do I like Uzo? Well, Uzo was unlucky in this race last year, when finishing a 3rd, didn't get a clear run up the rail. Was unlucky, and I didn't actually think he ran a bad race last time out in the Royal Hunt Cup. Finished 6th, just ran on, you know, without getting close to the winner. Returns this year. You know, I highlighted him for this race. Let me just move this across here. Highlighted this race after he got beat at Royal Ascot into 6th. He was 16s earlier this week. Hopefully some of you took notice of my tweet that I retweeted that. I'm just trying to move something, excuse me. Put this down to here. He was 16s. What was he, 16s? Let's have a look. He was definitely bigger than 8s. That's a load of rubbish. That was yesterday. And we can't get the anti-post odds, unfortunately, on this screen. He was 16s, 14s, 12s. He's down to a price that he should have been. This is about the right price. 8-1 with a clear run. I think he goes really, really close again tomorrow. He's not badly drawn in 5. That's not a problem. Just needs that clear run. If he'd got a clear run last year, I think he would have won. I think he would have won this race with a clear run. And although he's effectively £3 high because Safi can't claim this year, I don't think that should be too much of an issue. Wasn't beaten far last year in a race that I thought would work out well as well with Sinjari and Checan Challenge, was it? The 11-4 favourite that was. We liked Sinjari that day. We got it right. Hopefully we can get it right this year with Uzo coming back to this race. You can currently get 15-2. 8s is the outlier, so we look for the next one. 15-2, there's a few of them. So that's an available price, 15-2. If you haven't already got on them, I did try and tweet it earlier this week. Yeah, I think 15-2 is a more than suitable price for Uzo. Clear run. He's not been running badly. He doesn't seem to run a bad race, to be honest, and I think you'll get a good run out of Uzo. Moving on to the next race, which is the 3 o'clock at Sandown, and I'm doing something here that normally I'd be completely against the trainers doing this. I don't like trainers running horses in listed races, group races, when they've potentially got a ridiculously well-handicapped horse. And I think there's a really well-handicapped horse in this race. But with that in mind, that then means I think the horse is well-handicapped, so shouldn't be as low on the official ratings as she is anyway. So I think if she'd got a clear run, Bridestones at Royal Ascot in the Sandringham would have gone very, very close. And with that in mind, I think she might have gone up in the weights, in the handicap, for example. So she might have been rated 98, 99. And if she was rated 98, 99, there would only be a couple that are higher rated. But I think they're kind of exposed and potentially not as good as their ratings that they've currently achieved. Whereas I think Bridestones would still be progressing. So if she was rated, say she was rated 100, only Magical Sunset of 102 and Stenton Glider of 105 would be higher rated. Now I know that's kind of irrelevant being a listed race, so they're all off levels, but it does kind of give you an idea of, like Mystic Pearl, for example. She's going to go off a big price. Where is she? Mystic Pearl. 16s and 20s, because she's only rated 78. Granted, it is a strange thing to see William Haggas prepared to run her in this race. But I think he thinks it's a weak listed race. And I kind of agree. It does look open to something winning this that maybe might struggle in other listed or group races. But I'm prepared to give Bridestones that shout, that I think she's better than her current rating. I think she'll prove to be the best of these. And with that in mind, I think the 5-1 that you can get is a good price about her. Now that Breege is out of the race, I think Bridestones is the one who's going to be the one to beat over this trip. You know, if she gets a clear run, I think she'll be very, very competitive. The next horse I want to talk about is in the 4:15 at Sandown. We're not going to look at the Eclipse. I think Emily Upjohn wins, I think, but we will see. The 1 mile 1 furlong, 209 yards handicap. Who do I like here? Well, I think the horse that's been knocking on the door for a little while now is Majestic. Yes, he's favourite. I think the jockey booking is hugely eye-catching. Ryan Moore taking over from Connor Beasley, Ronan Whelan, George Bass, Aidan Keeley, Rob Hornby, Sean Levy, Ben Curtis, Harry Cobden. Harry Cobden obviously rode in a bumper. But you listen to those names of those other jockeys that have ridden Majestic. Never a Ryan Moore, never a William Buick, anything like that. Ryan's been booked because they think they can win this race. And looking at the other horses in the race, I think they're all very much exposed. I don't think there's anything hugely progressive in the race. I think Majestic will like the trip. Runs again off 92. Finished second to Cadillac off 92 at Epsom. Obviously, on that day, we highlighted two. Masakela and Cadillac. Cadillac won it. Suggesting that was a decent run from Majestic. I think going to Sandown, this trip will suit. This course will suit. And Ryan Moore jockey booking is hugely eye-catching. And he is 7-2 favourite, but I think he wins this. I think this is his race. I don't think there's anything quite as progressive or unexposed as what has previously been running in the races against Majestic. And the final race I want to look at is not the 4:15 again, it's the 4:50. We know who this is going to be. I'm going to give him another chance. He just needs to settle. If he can settle, I think he'll go really, really close. That's Classic. I really like his 2-year-old form. It was very, very good. His effort behind the Foxes at Goodwood, very unlucky. I still think he should have won that day. This season, he got bumped to Goodwood, but still ran okay, beaten by the right horses. Last time out, I thought he was far too keen. He ended up running over the back of horses. If Pat can get him to settle, I think he can run a really big race here. There's a couple of potentially progressive horses. I think personally, Classic has the most ability. It's all about whether they can get him to settle. They're still going again. You know, this is his 4th run this season. It did take 3 before he got going last season, before he won at Newmarket. Hopefully this is his time of year. I mean, he didn't actually race last year until the 15th of July. So maybe the early on in the season didn't quite work for him, and hopefully he can come good tomorrow. So he's my final one for tomorrow. It's Classic at 9-1. I'm hoping for a big run there. So just a quick recap. In the 240, I've left it alone in the end. The 315, I'm going for both of the yellow colours, Garci and La Yakel. La Yakel has definitely been saved for a race. Is this it? Garci looks very well handicapped considering he went off 11-8 for this race last year. In the Coral Challenge, you know I'm all on Uzo. Gets a clear run. I think he goes very, very close. Big fan of Bridestones. I thought she was very unlucky in the Sandringham. I think she's about this grade, and hopefully she can run a really big race. In the 4:15, Majestic, I think with Ryan Moore booked, will get a win on the board before going up in grade. And in the final race, the 4:50 at Sandown, Classic to hopefully get a smoother run through and to not be as keen early on. And then I think Classic can go very, very close in this 0-90. I'm just double checking. What did he run in last time? They were rated, they were better horses, 97, so probably 0-100. And the time before that, it was also a very competitive 0-100. This is a slightly easier race, so hopefully this could be the race for Classic. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend, and hopefully we've highlighted a few winners there.